What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for Friday, December 9th, 2022. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I appreciate you all very much. I hope that you're ready for Friday. Happy Friday to you all, and I hope that you've had a good week. Definitely been it's a lot, dealing with a lot of full moon energy, squares, tension. There's a lot. It doesn't always play out as tension. Sometimes we can get through these things. So I hope that, a lot of you are doing well. I know I've been checking the comments this week, and it's I'm not alone, I guess, when I'm picking up this energy. It seems like we're all at a point, and there's a lot of cusp energy, and there's a lot of transitions that are taking place, and it feels like we're ready, and this big release and these changes and this mutability, and it is all, coming. And yeah, I got a cool chart to show you at the end, so I will do that. But let's look at this Friday, and thank you all for being here. So, sun's going to be at 17 degrees in Sag. It is pulling off that opposition to the Mars retrograde, which Mars is moving as fast as it's going to move here in retrograde, which is 22 minutes of geometry a day. So, things are moving, even though it doesn't feel like they are, or we're retracing or having to understand our own minds and the identity in which we think about ourselves and our subjective truths in this Sagittarius season of this big vision, these journeys, all that's out there. And to, stay hopeful and positive, because there's definitely change coming. We're also going to see Venus ingress into Capricorn tonight on the West Coast at 7:53 p.m., so 10:53 on the East Coast of the United States. The moon will start off the day. It started off at midnight, basically. It opposed Venus, but really it's opposing Mercury. And with Venus at 29, it's definitely intense in that square with Jupiter. So there's just a lot of this like hanging on the edge sort of energy, especially dealing with the things in life that make us feel good. We have a moon in Cancer. We're dealing with a lot of emotions, our own inner security. And then Venus is our self-worth, right? So this self-worth aspect of feeling good in this sort of, infinite jungle, this infinite abyss, this ocean, even if you will, to just stay in that surrendered positive state that the universe is working magic all the time. And even if there's, tension, it's understanding your emotions is so important today, and not suppressing what, you really feel, not suppressing what you need to say, not thinking that you're stupid right now. Like there's a lot of energy that's kind of neurotic. And, we can doubt ourselves and doubt our own minds. And, we're at a place where we have to just be strong, be secure, be comfortable in our bodies and our mind. And, it's kind of a waiting game. Like there's, of course, things that we can always do in life, but I feel like the big sort of shift that we're looking for is we're right on the cusp of that. And, it's staying in a positive state, staying in a place where you can kind of see the plan, even though it feels like we feel like we're so far away from it with Mercury and Capricorn. Like we're trying to get things consolidated to a place of what can be built upon, thinking in a manner that's productive. So it is that like productive energy in our minds of feeling secure and safe and comfortable, even though it's still a very emotional time. That things are going to start making sense here. Things are going to start to come to a place. But I do think that today, this Friday, is a nice test for us all, just to be chill and secure in ourselves, and to know that we do have plans. We do have big things. There is so much that can come to fruition. There is so much that can be grown in our life right now, that it's just like not everything happens at once. And I think Mercury in Capricorn is helping us before it even comes into shadow here. It is helping us see that. It is letting us know that like it's okay to start drafting up, what the whole structure of where we're going is going to look like. Maybe we don't get there. It's not a, Capricorn's never a one day boom. Capricorn is a journey in itself up the mountain. It's step by step. And, with all cardinal energy, it is often 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, because it has that oomph and that power to start and initiate, but it doesn't necessarily hold that energy, if you will. So it has to kind of come back to this, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So that's a good analogy for today. And we don't want to, try to push so hard for things that we want. Things are just naturally showing up as they are, and we just don't want to trip out. This is definitely like, try and find the beauty in life right now. Stay present in life right now. Have the plan, but don't rush it. Don't try and throw up this beautiful, magnificent structure in a day, because it's just going to turn out like a mess. And, I'll be honest, a Sag Venus square Jupiter in Pisces, like with Mars retrograde in Gemini, like this has a mess written all over it, And there's a lot of release points to Virgo that I've been talking about. So, we want to try to avoid messy situations. We want to try and keep things pure and keep things in at least an organized sense without going absolutely berserk in our lives. And then Venus coming into Capricorn. I like this. I do. I think that it gets Venus and our values and our relationships in a place that we're really going to start working towards the long-term goals here. We're really going to start putting our effort into, things in life that have a prestige within us. Maybe not within the world, but what makes us feel like we want to stay on it and dedicated to what we're creating. So there's a lot of resilience, I think, that we have to have right now. We're feeling a lot of emotions. Of course, the moon in Cancer is very sensitive. It's really not making too many aspects after it comes off these oppositions. It will be in a I don't know why this aspect just slipped my mind. A septile to the North Node before it does, and Uranus before it does in the evening come up and make the sextile to the nodes. Of course, by the time most of us are going to bed. And it will also, kind of hit right when we go to bed, a square point to Chiron. But I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue because it's going to be so late, and it's usually, but it is Friday night, so it's one of those nights where it's interesting too. Like late night could kind of pop some wounds or some insecurities or aspects coming into the weekend. But I do think that this chart kind of mellows us out and has us get back to feeling good and trying to find the comfort and being grateful and thankful for all that we do have. And to realize that there's a lot of change on the cusp, and we don't have to trip ourselves out or get in some, crazy delusional state. The sun is getting ready to start squaring Neptune as it comes to 18 degrees and, gets in that 4-degree orb mark with Neptune. So there is a little bit of that building up, of course. But I do think that Venus helps ground us coming into the weekend, and I do think that Mercury in Capricorn too, there's a grounding aspect that I think we need with so much mutability that we've had and so much emotions, that we are kind of coming back to earth and realizing that on this plane it does take time, it does take work, it does take effort, and we can't have it all boom right now all the time. Sometimes we get that, sometimes we don't. So we're in this sort of energy as well. But the sun's also working on that sextile over to Saturn. So Saturn's also, right there in Aquarius, saying that your future's there, and you can expand this, and you can, see so much. And there is a lot to come. But you have to be patient. You have to stay persistent and, be in your soul's integrity and the uniqueness of your soul. And, you'll see how much wisdom, you really do possess, and that you're right on your path. You're right here where you need to be and connecting to the timeline that your future is meant to be on. So I like today's chart a lot more than the last 2 days, not that I did, hated those charts by any means, but they were much more intense. I think that this one's kind of a, gives us a chance to take a breath. And I think that that's what we need. So it's a good Friday to take that breath of relief and to not stress and to not, try and take over the world in one day, you know, and that there's a lot to come, and we all do want to count our blessings with Jupiter at the final degree of Pisces, with Neptune, and even Venus square that. You know, of course, we all want things that maybe we don't have. There's always desires, and the South Node in Scorpio definitely is bringing up desires in life, and you know those desires will come. We don't want to lose ourselves in trying to make them happen right now because we might be let down. And then we won't be feeling as secure or empowered or confident because we had this big ideal of how it needed to look. So I wanted to pull this chart up. I mentioned it yesterday, if you caught that horoscope, which is perfect that, you know, I am actually running it today because I was doing some research and found it. But this is the Helio chart with the sun, with Mars, of course. But that's not really what I'm focused on. I did show that the North Node of, it's actually interesting in this chart, the North Node of Venus was, because I ran the other nodes for the planets from Geo, but you can run the nodes from Helio, and I like this version a lot because it does put the nodes in exact opposition like the lunar nodes are, where from Geo, because of where we sit in relation to the planets around the sun, they're not in like exact opposition of each other. However, in Helio they are. So we're seeing that full moon and Mars passing, or the Earth passing Mars, it was also with the North Node of Venus in Gemini, right there where Venus has been eclipsing the sun in 2012 and in 2004. And then Uranus's North Node is right there, and I talked a lot about the liberation. But what I really want to touch on now that I thought was so interesting is that the North Node of Jupiter is at 10 degrees of Cancer. The South Node is at 10 degrees of Capricorn. And what I think is so special for the collective is that Jupiter in Helio is now at 10 degrees of Aries, and it is squaring its nodes, as you can see, because they are in opposition from the Helio perspective. And why I think this is special is because the nodes are and I'll come to camera for this, the nodes are like the ecliptic of this planetary orbit, right? And this is how it works with the sun and the moon too, and that's why we get eclipses, because the moon has to come back to that ecliptic in its own orbit in front of the sun to have an eclipse, so that, you know, it blocks out that path, right? If that makes sense. The planets do the same thing. So what's happening is Jupiter in Helio, of course, went through all this South Node stuff. We saw Saturn there. Pluto is going, you know, and finishing up with all that. You know, the South Node of Saturn, South Node of Pluto. If you wonder why we've seen so much over the last couple years, that's why. That's exactly why. You know, it's brought up so much collective karma, and it's really shown us the illusion of the structure of this reality. And that's why so many people have woken up, because they realize that structure is not working in their lives spiritually. And it's very special, but it's been intense. So when Jupiter hit its south node, it reached that ecliptic mark. So maybe I could draw this out. Kind of something like this. So say this is the north node, say this is the south node, and these are the southern bend, the southern turn, and the northern bend or northern turn. So Jupiter has already dropped into the southern by crossing its south node, and by squaring these nodes, it's actually at the bottom, and it has been rough with Jupiter the last few years. It has been a struggle. But because it's squaring these nodes, Jupiter is on the up and up. And until it comes into Libra to square these nodes again in 6 years, we are on the up and up. And that's why I think this is so special, because we're about to see Jupiter in a way that we haven't seen Jupiter in a long time, 3.5 years, basically. So just congratulations, like the wisdom that we've learned by going into these darker spaces in our life, by doing the healing that we've done is so amazing. And it's like you are really about to take your story to the next level. And as Jupiter starts to make this transit and comes to conjunct its north node in about 4 years, this is where it's going to reach that plane, right? If I use this as the north node and this was the ecliptic line, Jupiter will be crossing that plane and then going up as it comes into Libra. And it'll reach its peak at the northern bend to come south and cross over the south node. So we've reached rock bottom, if you will. We have reached rock bottom, and there's only one way to go, and that's up. So, and it's the great benefic Jupiter. It's a lot that is turning in our lives. So this is why I want people to stay hopeful. It's another piece of astrology that I think is more not so micro on a daily, but macro. But it's something I want you guys to, consider and contemplate, that don't lose it now, because we are at the bottom and there's a lot of intense things going on. And you don't want to lose it now, because it's things are turning. Things are going to come up, and we're so lucky to have that with Jupiter right now. So I hope that that's helpful and gives you some hope if you need it. And hopefully it made some sense. I am going to do a class on the nodes probably in February. So if you're interested, keep that in mind. I'm going to go deep on planetary nodes, how to use them in mundane astrology, how to read them in our charts in a significant way, and also how to go into past life regression astrology with them deeper as well. So something that I'm looking forward to and kind of planning, but it's not ready yet. And besides, it's the holidays and stuff. I want people to recover from holiday spending before I try and sell something. All right, let's see what's in the card. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, this is kind of one of those days where it feels like we can't have all we need, where there's no security in the world. We're like, it's been so hard to find comfort. It's been so hard to know that we have all the tools we need, but this is the trick. We have to remember that we do, and things are on the up and up, and we don't want to lose ourselves in lack or doubt. This is a time to be hopeful, positive, and realize the abundance within ourselves. It's so important. And the Seven of Swords in reverse. This is the no bullshit card. Like Seven of Swords upright, there's a lot of bullshit in the Seven of Swords upright, I'll be honest. There's no BS in the Seven of Swords in reverse. So don't be doing that to yourself. Don't be doing it to others. We want to be real about our feelings. We want to be real about what we're thinking. We don't have to do something crazy, but at the same time, don't hold things in either. And also, if you're sensing that within people in your lives giving you giving you the gaslight or smoke, like, don't fall for it, and don't take it personally either. That's somebody else's thing. And that just came in too. Like, don't take what other people do personally right now. It has nothing to do with you, and that's their own BS that they're dealing with. This is a time to focus on not BSing ourselves. And God, the Tower card. Hey, the Tower card brings the change. It brings, what we need. And it feels like we're at this place where it's just like, this is all we get. This is great. And, it's important to know that we're coming back up. We're coming into more of that star card territory. Things are going to shift, and it's okay. We don't have to feel like it's the end all be all. It's not. So don't get too upset about things that fall apart, or things that aren't working out, or things that are changing. We have to accept it, find peace, find comfort in ourselves, and we'll be on the up and up here soon. So keep that mindset, and I think that you'll be great moving forward. And even just on today, if things come up, I think that's good advice, and something I will definitely use in my own life as well. So I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you all for the weekend forecast tomorrow, and peace out.